State lawmakers are getting it from all sides.
Governor Gregoire says she is close to announcing the tax hikes that she wants.
A lot of people here, Eric. Yeah, several thousand people.
And it is truly crunch time here in Olympia, where lawmakers have to step up and decide if they are going to raise taxes and what taxes they are going to raise.
Washington State is battling over taxes. Of course, some would prefer to use the less obvious but more popular term, revenue.
There'll be cuts and there'll be revenue. And I actually have more cuts than I do revenue.
No matter where you stood before today, people were ready to rally. Some for more taxes, some against them. On one side was the Evergreen Freedom Foundation and their anti-tax Tea Party pushback movement, a grassroots movement of individuals who stood against higher taxes, bigger government, and more spending. They wanted to let the governor and legislature know that they needed to get the government's spending habits under control. They even marched into legislative buildings to talk with their legislators one-on-one. On the other side was the much larger organized group of special interests, groups of unions, tax-paid workers, and organizations who depend on taxpayer money to grow and expand their power on organizations. They bussed in thousands of union workers, gave them pre-made signs, told them where to stand, what to say, brought in mascots to dance, and even provided a nice lunch for them to enjoy, all under the guise of raising revenue. Their message? Without more taxes, kids would be put out in the streets, school funding would be cut, people just wouldn't be able to take care of themselves without the help of more and bigger government. They believe big government needs to step in and take money from people so that their institution of power doesn't get financially cut. They believe that government is just underfunded for what it has to do to protect us poor individuals from ourselves and this financial crisis. The fact is, Washington State is in a crisis. The state of Washington is facing a $2.8 billion shortfall this year, meaning they plan to spend $2.8 billion more than what they expect to bring in. When asked about the impending budget shortfall in 2008's pre-election YouTube debate, Governor Gregoire dismissed the facts. She even touted a surplus of money.
First, let me be clear. The state of Washington is not in a deficit at all. We are sitting on an $800 million surplus.
The truth is, at the time, the state was looking at only a $1.6 billion deficit. Now it's blossomed into the $2.8 billion juggernaut the state faces today. Some say they saw the writing on the wall, saying that the growth of state government over the last few years has created a situation that was unsustainable by the populace. In fact, government revenue has grown 31% since 2004, while growth in the Consumer Price Index has only grown 16% during the same period. Of course, taxpayers said enough was enough in 2007 with Initiative 960 that said that the legislature needed a two-thirds majority to raise taxes. And just this week, the legislature suspended it to help pay for their planned growth. Now we face a state that can't control spending and resorts to threats on things like education and public safety to strong-arm people into thinking they need to give more money or else vital services will be cut. So instead of prioritizing spending by listing vital services, making sure that they get adequate funding, then moving down the line, the legislature and the governor are giving in to unionized special interests and continuing to grow the size of government. All of this while ignoring the voice of people they vow to serve.